Good morning, good morning. Yeah, the year has barreled through, and before you know it, it'll be fall. But right now, we are about to step into 8-8, the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate is a portal of power, and it has been intensifying every year. Ever since I started really getting into that 888 portal, which was back in 2014, it's been growing in intensity, which is good. Good in that it's a portal that we can step into with incredible power. Challenging in that the ascension symptoms get very activated. Migraines, I've been having them, like massive migraines, exhaustion, and the energy being so intense. Finally, I'm seeing some spiritualists getting off their ass and talking about manifesting 5D, basically. And I know for some of us, it's very difficult because we have the immediacy of survival, paycheck to paycheck. And it is a serious way to live. It is a very hard way to live. And I fully live it with you. But what I'm going to say to you is that this year's 888 has to not be about just our immediate concern, to be honest. It has to be about bringing in a 5D consciousness that saturates the bullshit that is taking away our rights left and right bit, taking away our rights left and right bit by bit. That means that our concern is the entire planet, not just us, not just our little world. I'm not doing this to guilt you out. I'm going to give you the sense of it, the common sense of it. If we ask, imagine if I was a genie and I asked you to give me 3 wishes. And this is a very important fable about the 3 wishes. Because if you ever have heard the stories of the 3 wishes and the genie, the last wish is always, damn near always, to destroy the first wish, which was done under greed, avarice, fear. Because wishes have to be exact, or they can be very toxic or ironically harmful to you. Edgar Allan Poe wrote a short story called The Monkey's Paw about a wish that went wrong. So when we wish on the portal of 8-8, and I might actually do I'll do a Lionsgate guided meditation. It'll probably be around 2 or 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I think it's not a bad idea. Because what we want to do is bring in Satya Yuga. We've been living under the Kali Yuga of iron and blood in our mouths for centuries. And now it's time for milk and honey. And so the 8-8 portal is about 5D. It's about bringing in 5D. Because when you bring in 5D, there is no Gaza. There is no bullshit. There is no famine. There is no torture. There is no children being kidnapped at 3 o'clock in the morning. None of that. None of that is happening. There are no mercenaries going into Sudan to violate women and children. There is no starvation. There is no abuse in the Congo. There is no women dying in ERs, bleeding out because no one wants to perform the proper care for her because she's actually having a miscarriage, but no one wants to touch her and she's dying. There is no old man who got his Social Security cut off and now he's being thrown on the streets with his belongings in a plastic bag. There are no 18-year-old foster care kids being aged out, ending up on the streets. 5D ends that. And a lot of people might actually get upset with me and go, you're Pollyanny. You're like full of shit. You're thinking of things that are impossible. And I will push back and say most of the things that scientists thought were real are now laughable. What you think is impossible is in your mind, not in reality. And reality is based on thought. In other words, and this is something I want you to really think about what I'm about to say. Thought become matter. Matter does not become thought unless your monkey mind controls you. Matter becoming thought is your environment squeezing out all the magic out of you until you're a puddle of fear and anger or depression. So if thought become matter and matter doesn't become thought, then what does that mean to you? It means that we have to create a new egregore. It means that we have to step inside of ourselves and close our eyes of the limited reality of 3D, what we are surrounded by, our eyes, our ears, our scent, of the very density of this reality. No soul on the other side of the veils will argue with you that this is not a very dense reality. Why do you think some of them refuse to incarnate? They're afraid to lose their consciousness and get spiraled into the vortex of 3D, meat grinder, hamster wheel incarnations, forgetting themselves, forgetting who they are. So 5D changes that. And so what you do when you imagine 5D, and if you want, I will do the guided meditation because I think it's helpful tomorrow. We co-create something else. Peace on earth. Peace on earth is possible. Thank you. You can't change free will to change the world. You have to change the people. No, you have to change yourself. You have to change how you think. Forget the world. You think this is the first rodeo I've been on where there was fucking abuses of human beings? I've been watching this shit since I was 8 years old. Here's what I finally distilled it to the one truth. I distilled it to one truth. Crying for people who I couldn't help. Going to massive depression and hating the planet and hating the people on it. Created an egregore that agreed. And it created a denser 3D for everyone concerned. And me, my little 14-year-old self or 15 or 20-year-old self didn't realize what I was doing. When I start cleaning up my brain, my thought patterns, the way I see the planet and the world is when my own immediate surroundings changed. Magic began to happen. And if that's true, which it is, I'm not here to convince you. I don't honestly give a shit if you believe me or not. I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to topple people over who are on the edge of believing. I'm here to help them cross that threshold. And in that thought pattern of 5D, we create the egregore. And this is also just the truth. This is talked about by many people who are way, way above my educational understanding. And they understand it. So why are we going to argue with so many brilliant minds who understand reality and how reality is created and have written books on the subject? Why? Why? Because you see, the 1% understands it too. And they use the egregores of fears of the common man and woman, anger, depression, against them to keep them trapped in the vortex of these incarnations. And this is known amongst the elite and those who have broken away from the matrix to write down their thoughts, to share it widely through spoken word, through talks, through classes, and again through their books. Adam Apollo is a very good example of a millennial who understands the nature of energy and talks about it all the time. Energy is created by how we think. That's why when people meditate together, they can create a vortex of power that can heal or destroy. So 8-8 is not the time to step into your limited ideas of what you need. Because if you go into 5D and you become magnanimous, in what you want for not just yourself, but the entire planet, you do a great service. But not only that, you help co-create an egregore for people like me. You're creating a power that expands, because as we start thinking in that way, we create a pollination across the world. And it's funny because they're telling me that's one of the reasons why corn is so fucked up, because of the pollination. It doesn't matter if a farmer has an acre 10 miles away from GMO corn. The GMO corn will eventually pollinate the, organic, non-GMO corn, eventually, just the pollination alone. So pollination of negativity or positivity is up to you. It's in your hands. You decide. You have free will. Do whatever the hell you want. But if I were you today, I would write down what I want for myself and for the world. And if you want $1 billion and private jets and Rolex watches, I'm not for you. Because billionaires are not a match to 5D. Because the kinds of billionaires that I've heard of don't stay billionaires for long, because they're busy building, homesteads or situations, or upgrading hospitals, or giving to charities that actually fucking roll up their sleeves, not give each other fat salaries. And no matter what you think about people, no one's perfect. None of us are walking on water. We all have our shadows. And just because we're influencers or famous or whatever, doesn't mean that we don't step on dog shit here and there. None of us are infallible. None of us are anything but human beings who are actually, in truth, multidimensional souls having human experiences. And somehow, way back when, we forgot ourselves and got trapped in this vortex. And we suffered for it, individually, collectively, for thousands of years. 5D ends that kind of crap. It just ends it. We'll still incarnate, don't get me wrong, but not in ignorance. And so if you believe that you deserve it, and if you believe in co-creating this, then join me tomorrow when I do this guided meditation. Or if you miss it, it'll be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Follow me there. There are a lot of shadows I talk about because it's necessary, but there's a lot of light. And I want to invite you to go watch my video on water, the language of water, and understand how energy works. How you've had the power, I've had the power to change the circumstances of my life for years, decades, and was never taught the magical recipe of my own liberation until I got so sick and tired of my life that I began to, not just ask about reincarnation, past lives, data, this, that, and the other, right? I started asking real good questions. Why did I forget? Why am I remembering now? Why am I trapped in this one planet constantly again and again when I know I'm a starseed? When did I fall? Why did I fall? And those questions began to liberate my mind because I was able to answer it through books, through talks, through my own meditations and my own downloads. I invite you to be a 4-year-old all over again tomorrow when you start visualizing the new earth. But if you just want to just ask for a better job, your man or woman to come back to you, understand that part of the reason why I've created a series of videos, lives, that I've stacked up, I've got over 700 videos on YouTube about how the infrastructure has destroyed marriages. It's made people go into massive depression, impotent rages, and also cynicism, deep, deep, wounded cynicism. There was never anything wrong with our souls. It was the system that made us sick. And so, again, it's up to you. You have everything right in your hands. It's right there, right in front of your nose. There's a story, and I'm probably not going to say it correctly, to be honest. It's a story about a Chinese man who's sitting on a box. It's like a chest. It's locked. And he's begging for alms. And he doesn't realize, he never had the curiosity. Did you get that? He never had the curiosity to open that chest, to just take a knife and break that lock. He never wanted to. It didn't seem important, because really what he used the chest for was to sit on. But he was poor. And he begged for crumbs. He had a bowl, a begging bowl, and people would drop coins. This went on for years. But the irony of ironies is, in that chest was kilograms of gold, bars of gold. And eventually he died. He died, and one day a woman with her 2 kids decided to use it to beg. But one of her children, the youngest one, was curious and said, "What's in that chest? Could there be toys? Could there be something?" And the mother, wanting to cater to her child, decided to pick the lock with a hair lock or hairpin. And when they opened the chest, there were bars of gold. And they became very rich. They built a beautiful palace. And she was such a beautiful soul, this mother, that she gave and helped many who were homeless and ended homelessness in her village. Many of you are sitting on a chest of treasures, and you've never had the curiosity to go beyond the limitations of what you were taught was possible. That's your problem. That was my problem. And to deconstruct the monkey mind from its conditioning, Pavlov's dog, right? The bell, the salivation of the dog whenever the bell rings. Hopefully, there's certain psychological shit you should learn if you don't know. The 100 monkey theory. The idea of a butterfly's wings starting a hurricane across the oceans. The smallest acts, the smallest moves, creating massive change. Massive. And it is the monkey mind and how it was trained and conditioned for incarnation after incarnation. Ultimately, it's not your fault. But if you're here and you're listening to me, what you do after today, after this hour, is your fault. Or your own liberation. You have to want to know this shit. You have to know why people believe in this, instead of telling people like me why it's not possible. I stopped going on lives when it comes to talking to people about spirituality, gender wars, and shit like that, because I'm not here to convince idiots. I'm not. I'm not here to debate. This is not a debate. I look at the people I respect and go, holy fuck. That's their experience. And it's quantifiable. But the people, the mass, the zombies of our planet, the muggles who don't believe in this are afraid of something, and they cling to their religions like Linus blankets. God forbid you should tear those blankets out of their hands and go, you know, that blanket's filled with ticks and lice and it's filthy, it's never been cleaned. But they'll hold on to that shit with dear life. And the beautiful thing about going back into being a child is that you are closer to God, or the one of 1,000 names, the one who created us all, or whatever you think created you. Maybe you think it's a consciousness. Whatever you call it, it's fine. It doesn't matter. But children are so close to their source of beginnings before they took on this incarnation that they see magic because magic is present, and the veils. They see magic because magic is present, and the veils, the calcifications of the veils, have not yet fallen to close their eyes. So our job right now is to undo the damage of countless incarnations and to open our eyes through the lens of 5D, 6D, and infinite, and our third eye. Ask for ascension light codes. Ask for them to be downloaded and feel these downloaded ascension light codes pouring down your crown chakra. Feel it going all the way down your chakras, 9 chakras. And work on that. And tomorrow, if you want to join me, it'll probably be more in the afternoon. You know, I'll announce it. I'll figure it out. I need to look at my schedule, see what clients I have tomorrow and what have you. But I think I'm going to do it. It probably will be no longer than this live, to be honest. Because what else is there to say, right? And if you miss it again, you can go on my YouTube page. It'll be there. Anyway, let me read your comments and questions or what have you. Any comments or questions? No? Okay. So that's it. 8-8. It's an inside game, yes. And peace on earth is, and not just peace on earth, peace, abundance, generosity, kindness, leadership made up of wisdom, not greed. And it wouldn't even be leadership, it would be wise elders. The word leader would no longer be a part of this connection. You know what I mean? We're not here to cater to conquerors and warriors and leaders and billionaires. It's not working. It's never worked. And the imbalance is so egregious now. Seriously. It's so off kilter. It's so unhinged. The avarice outweighs even the consciousness to give back to society, which I mentioned again, and I'll mention it again. I think it's worth it. We're the robber baron. Yeah, robbers. The robber barons. That's how I call robber barons. Literally would give back with hospitals, museums, schools, libraries. They at least had the good sense that if they were going to fuck you, they were going to give something back. Swear to God. And that it balanced out. But none of these people have given shit back, and don't tell me anything about, oh, they give to the Red Cross. I'm going to give you a George Carlin side eye. So get ready. Write down how you want this to play out. 8-8 is a portal of selflessness. I told you last year that 2025 was 9. Co-creation with the universe, infinite possibilities. Make sure you know what's going to happen. That's why I said in 2024, I said that was 8. And that's why I said in 2024, I said that was 8. And that was a karmic loop. And that we had to pay. In other words, look at all of the karma that had been done. Colonialism, racism, misogyny, misandry, all that crap. We had to look at everything in 2024 to map out what we wanted in 2025. Well, guess what? A lot of people are waking up in we're damn near done with the year. And this is a high vibrational year. I know you're going to think, what the fuck is she talking about? Look at the mess. Yes, I know. But see, the elite are using this year to co-create more money. And many of you have not created more peace. You see, you're so busy dealing with the day-to-day by design. They get you busy, busy, working, surviving, paying bills, on the phone, trying to make a payment arrangement, whatever the fuck you're going through. Whatever the hell you're going through, by design, to keep you off your shit. Not your fault. I'm not going to blame you. Why would I? It's been by design for a long time to frustrate you, to try to call this company, that company, an agency, whatever. I get it. Trust me. You know, press 1, press 2, press 6. You're on the phone for 45 minutes and it hangs up. Listen, it's by design. It's an egregore that was created to frustrate the common man and woman. Stop playing that fucking game. Calm your nervous system. Sit and close your eyes and see reality through your third eye, through your soul's multidimensional understanding of what is possible, not to mention what it remembers experiencing into itself. You see, that's why meditation, whatever you want to call it, if meditation fucks you up mentally, just say, I'm going to sit in silence and close my eyes. I don't care what you do to tripwire and hijack your monkey mind into submission so that you can hear your soul and its recollection of itself, its true self, unlimited self. Whatever you have to do, fucking do it. But do it daily. And then sit and deconstruct what has brought you to this point. And deconstruct what has brought you to this point. Because you see, we're not gaining freedom, we're losing them, you see. And I don't have to tell you that, you already know it. So that means that we have a portal. It's tomorrow, it's Friday. And that portal, we need to pour all of our love, our infinite knowing, our infinite will, our free will in action to co-create 5D, to topple gently or abruptly systems of oppression that have always been. It's almost like we woke up realizing, oh my God, I have an iron collar around my neck. And there's a chain to it. And where does this chain lead to? Who's holding the end of the chain? It's extraordinary, waking up. It's painful as fuck. There are people that are actually losing their minds. I'm not kidding. They're going into massive depression because they're realizing that everything they thought was real was a lie. And we have to co-create a planet where there's integrity, safety, generosity. We don't need billions. It's funny how small it gets. My friend in Norway said, my husband went to the neighbor and brought a basket of zucchinis, and we ended up with dozens of eggs. Can I tell you something? That's how we used to live. There was no money. We had no money. There were Native American tribes, and you must know this, but let me remind you, there was no money. In fact, the conquistadors talk about coming onto these lands before we fully colonialized the lands and the people, where the children in Africa as well wore gold and played with. In Africa as well, wore gold and played with gold balls. It meant nothing. There was no money. There was trading. There was friendships, partnerships. Chanel bag or that Bugatti. I don't know about you, but I did grow up wanting these things. I was like 21. And then little by little, I realized how the shit falls apart anyway. But what was really lasting was my friendships, my memories of a good meal with laughter. What was really lasting was growing my own food. It made no sense to fight and scrap and make Gordon Gekko's call, greed is good, in Wall Street, the movie. That was not my mantra, greed is good. In fact, I remember first hearing it being revolted. Greed is good, and realizing many of you are so sweet, such tender-hearted people, that you thought that to be wealthy meant you'd have to step on people's heads because you had seen it in action, and it was celebrated that to hurt people to become rich by any means necessary. And then Michael Singer wrote the book, The Untethered Soul, a billionaire who did it not by greed, but by meditation. And not because he wanted money, because he didn't want money. Money came to him because frequency was a match. But what's my point? With his money, he built communities, people who wanted to meditate, and they wanted to be left the fuck alone. They wanted simple lives. Simple but rich lives. Rich with community. Rich with laughter and storytelling and sharing. Most of you go to work, go shopping, and go home and watch Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever the hell you're watching. There might be a gathering, a get-together here and there. But have you ever stepped out of your porch and met a neighbor for coffee and just hung out for an hour, went back in, and didn't have to, go to work, to a job you don't care about, to a bullshit meeting, a beating? Can you imagine living a life where we would just be, live, dream, create, raise our kids, watch them play safely? Safely. Because deviant, abhorrent behaviors are not in 5D. That's a 3D construct. In 5D, is there jealousy, envy, anger? Yeah, of course. But it's not 3D shit. It's worked out. It's looked at. Shadows are not shamed. It's different. And we've been so conditioning to thinking that the pile of shit we sit on is gold, or has the potential to be gold, that we actually will fight to the death to keep it. Our little pile of shit. It's worth fighting for. I'm going to put my little flag on it. This is my pile of shit. I own this pile of shit, and you can't have it, and I want more piles of shit. Again, this old saying my father used to say all the time, when one has never seen the sun, the moon is indeed bright. And yet the irony is you have. You've seen light. You've been in other planets. You've had other realities. You've been in high dimensional consciousness. You've been in Tibet before Tibet fell into 3D. You were in India before it fell in 3D. You were in Atlantis, Lemuria before it fell in 3D. You've lived this before. It's in your memory banks. And all you're doing is going back to that as a minimum. Minimum. So 8-8. 8-8. 8-8. Most folks are lonely. Yes, they've been lonely for a long while. Everyone, you know what's funny about people looking back at the past? Oh, the 80s were so fun. The 80s when we could run out on the streets and play and play and play. Well, guess what? Or 70s. It's true. All of that is true. We could all play. We could all... I remember living in Hong Kong. Imagine trying that shit today. I don't even know how it would work. But I remember living in Hong Kong and at 14 years old, literally taking the Kowloon, the what is it called? The ferry from Hong Kong to Kowloon and back to go see a movie. From Hong Kong to Kowloon and back to go see a movie with a friend. Like, hours. When we played outside for until the sun set. Maybe that's why there was no obesity in children, because we were literally playing, finding rivers, streams, finding salamanders, frogs, building, little dwellings with branches and leaves and things like that, and just we've created a world where kids can't fucking go outside. As a matter of fact, if I see a kid that looks small for their age, I'm like, why are they walking home alone? That's dangerous. Because it is. It's dangerous. But we are not going to be looking at the past, because the past is gone. The past is gone. And thank God it is. Thank God it is. Now we can co-create something way better, way richer, more loving than ever before. Because in the 70s, 80s, 60s, whatever, however far back you want to go and say, it was so good then. It was good for certain people, and it was hell for others. Trust me. It was hell for women. It was hell for African Americans. It was hell for Native Americans. It was hell for all kinds of people. People who had disabilities. It was hell. So we don't want to go back in the past. It's good to look back and go, wasn't that nice? Yes, it was. Let's move on. Let's move on into 5D. All right? I'll see you tomorrow. We'll go ahead and do something. Folks are craving community. It was destroyed, and now exactly. We have to go forward. Thank you from Australia. It's good to see you, Carol, Australian. Gemma Butterfly, thank you. So let's do our bit. Let's get together. Let's share. I can't tell you how even having little bits of community for a minute, like I had these two healers come to my house, and we hung out for like a beautiful 36 hours. And they worked. They did body work on me, and we cooked. They brought food. It was a tiny, 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 tiny sliver of community that lasted 36 hours. And we all looked at each other going, we need to make this like the norm. We need each other. We need each other. We need to build communities, and we need to get serious. But we have to build the communities while we visualize 5D every step of the way, brick by brick, paving a road of 5D. And the bullshit that has harmed people you love, people you'll never meet, it falls away. I wish you could believe me, and I hope you will. Anyway, sending you much love on your journey. I'll go ahead and upload this on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube at Sacred Intimacy Tarot, and we'll do an 8/8 portal tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Namaste. Be well.